Okay, this is part 2 of putting your mouse together. And when we left last time, you had this sort of alien-like creature. So today, we're going to make his face look more like a mouse, and we're going to put the ears and the eyes and the nose on and make him look more mouse-like. Okay, so if you look at a mouse's face, he has these big cheeks at either side, and at the moment we've just got a sort of anteater look. So to make the cheeks, what we're going to do is take 2 small sausages of fleece. So if you take a piece that's maybe about 2 inches long, and we're going to roll it really tightly to make a sort of little sausage shape. This is probably a bit too long, so just pull some ends off and you make these little sausage shapes. And what we're going to do is just felt each of those. So get your little sausage, and with your felting needle, mainly in the middle, leaving the edges quite loose, felt your little, almost a bit like a croissant, until it's quite tough in the middle. And what we're going to do is attach one of those to each side of the mouse's head. So you want it to be narrow at the end for its nose. So if you see that's quite loose, that is going to help attach it to the head. So when you've done that, hold your mouse side on, and with your needle repeatedly stab it into the head, making it narrower as it comes towards the nose. Like this. So as you see, it's starting to shape the face like that, and you're going to do another one on the other side. So again, take a piece that's about 2 inches long, roll it tightly so it's tight in the middle, secure it by repeatedly stabbing it, keeping the edges really fluffy like that. And you can just, if it's a bit long, just trim those excess pieces off so it fits the size of the head. And just, oh, if you stab yourself, this is really, really going to hurt, so try and be careful. And if you do start bleeding, try not to get it all over your white mouse fur. And when you've got that shape, again, hold your mouse down, keeping that shape of a pointed snout. I'm doing this really roughly, but you can take more time to do that. And then if it's a bit too long, secure it at the back of the head. Again, you can take a bit more time, do it underneath, just to make sure it's almost like gluing it on, but you're doing it with a needle. And what the needle is doing with its sharp pointy bits is almost joining that fabric, those fibres together. Now I've done that really quickly to give you a general idea, but spend more time and be a little bit more careful than I am, so it looks neat. But when it's finished, you'll see your face is now looking fatter, and you've still got the pointy nose. Now obviously that looks quite rough, so what you're now going to do is get a thinner piece. I can see I'm holding that quite flat, and so it's quite thin, and you're going to wrap that right around your mouse's head, tucking it round the back, and that's going to kind of smooth down that padding. And again, just be really careful with this, but hold that stuff down. And as you can see, all I'm doing with this needle is shaping it. So you see it's quite fluffy at the back, and I'm shaping that in, pulling it tight. And it looks like it's got a load of hair at the back, but don't worry, just hold it down. And felt it down. So all those loose fluffy bits, just keep pressing with your needle, and the more you stab it, the tighter it will become. It might look big. Just keep poking at it till you get more of a shape. So I've got quite a bit of fluff at the back. Can you see here? And I'm just folding it down and just repeatedly stabbing. It brings the fur down. So can you see now that mouse's head is beginning to look a bit more like that one? You might want the nose more pointy. So you just hold it down. And can you see it makes that nose a little bit. So you can take a little bit more time over that. Tuck it underneath, but just keep doing that till you get the shape that you want. But you're looking for that sort of triangular shape with a pointy nose and big fat cheeks. Now by now you might think your mouse is looking a bit small, so you can just add a bit more belly to him if you want, but that's the general idea that you want. For his eyes, the eyes shape in a mouse, he's got his nose and then his head grows a little bit from there. So you can start on each side where you think his eyes are meant to go. You can start it just in one spot. Can you see where his eyes need to be? I'm repeatedly stabbing it to make those dents for the eyes. Bear with me on that. It's a bit pointy there, and you can just tap that down. So that is your basic mouse head shape. And it will still look nothing like a mouse, but the ears are everything. So for your ears, you can use the same colour. You can use white if you want, but I'm going to use pink to give it a contrast. And again, you want to get a piece of your pink that is about 2 inches square, and we're going to try and make that quite thin. So pull it and just keep pulling it out like that and flattening it until you get a piece that's reasonably thin. So you've got 2 pieces there that are reasonably thin and about the size of a 10p piece. Can you see? And to make the shape of your ears, we want a semicircle. So with your needle, put it flat on the mat, and you are going to roughly, with your needle, go in a circle about the size of a 10p piece. And you'll be able to see what that looks like. And if Mr. J zooms in, you can see that we've got that circle there. So to thicken it, we only want to thicken it, we want to leave a loose bit at the bottom for attaching, but where you've got that circle now, fold that over where you've made that original shape. So you can see we have our 10p piece shape. Maybe it's a bit smaller than a 10p piece. Don't keep doing it because it will stick to your mat. So lift it up. And again on the other side, felt that down. Flip it. And felt it all the while leaving a tuft here. Keep doing that and turning it until you're happy with it. And you want to look for something that looks a bit like a piece of felt. It's flat and it's got a defined circular shape. And to get that sort of mousy look, so that they're slightly curled, when you're ready and when it's the shape you want, fold it slightly and secure it with just a couple of stabs, so you can see that will hold and you've got that shell-like bit. Now you've probably got a little bit too much there, so pull off any excess but leave about 1/2 centimetre of loose fluff. And what we're going to do is we're going to secure that onto its head like so. Now you can make your ears as big or as little as you like. If you have them at the top, it will make your mouse look more alert. You can put it more at the side. You can put your ears where you like. I like putting mine at the side. Hold it in place. And then at the back, where you've got that loose bit, we're going to stab that down. I'm rushing this so that you can see what I'm doing, but take your time to get the position properly. So that ear sits there. So I'll do this one again quickly for you so you can see. Go around in a circle, the size of about the size of a 10p. Mark the area you want. And then fold over to get your shape. So the figure we're making today is a mouse, and mices have circular ears. But the shape on these is reasonably standard, you know, for the main figure. So if you want to change your mouse into a rabbit, you can make this circular, instead of doing a circular shape, you can do a long triangle or a kind of long leaf shape, and you can make it a rabbit's ears. Or if you wanted to make a little guinea pig, you can make the ears a lot smaller, or you can make the ears bigger. It's entirely up to you. This is your project, this is your creature. So really it's entirely up to you. The more you stab it, the flatter it will be. Take your time. Pull off any excess and fold it down. We'll do it that way so you can see. Be really careful with your fingers at this point, because if you're going to stab yourself, now is the point where you'll probably do it. So check it's a similar size, and again you stick that on the other side of his head. Hold it at the back. And just stab it until it feels secure. You don't want his ears falling off. So just make sure, and keep looking at it at the front to make sure you haven't, it's in the right place. If it's in the wrong place, you can rip it off and start again. Now obviously you don't want a load of pink at the back, so just to cover where you've stuck that, just take a thinnish piece of white fleece, hold it to the back of the head, and this will help hold your ears down and cover up that pink bit. Obviously take more, I keep saying this, take more time than me to securely put that in place. And as you're doing it, you know, you can keep, oh, we've bent his ear. Keep poking that down. Keep looking at the front to make sure you've got the shape you want. So let's get rid of this white stuff. As you're looking at him, keep looking at him, keep seeing, keep checking you've got him right. And now we're going to put the eyes in. So go back to your, hold him by his nose and make those firm indentations where the eye is going to be. If your nose isn't looking quite the right shape, it's a bit of a lumpy looking nose here, I'm just poking it in further. So to put his eyes in, and he's got a big Elephant Man like lump there on his head, so any lumps and bumps, just press them in. So to make the eyes, you've got some black fleece in your pack, and you need to take a very tiny ball, about that big, no bigger than the end of your finger, and just between your fingers roll it round until it's in a really small ball. I'm going to do another one, again a piece no bigger than the end of your finger, and roll it into a very small ball. So we have 2 little balls here, the same size, hopefully. And what we do with these, hold your mouse down so he's looking at you, and put that ball in that indentation that you've made for his eye. And this is quite gruesome, but poke that in. Poke the other one in the same side. Ooh. And just, this really is quite cruel for the poor little mouse. But poke his eyes in, and then the more that you poke at it and keep pushing those fibres in, you can make it a little bit smaller. Okay, and to make his nose at the end, again take a really small piece of the pink. You can roll that into a ball or make it into a little flat circle. And I'm going to kind of try and shape that with my needle. And just push the fibres in till you get almost a triangular shape. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Hold it at the end of his nose. Be very careful not to stab your fingers. And you can kind of shape that into a little triangle or a circle or whatever shape you want his nose to be. But just poke that in. So this isn't perfect. You can spend some time then putting some shape on your mouse if you want his nose to be a bit more pointy. Just poke that in. Poke his head into whatever shape. You know, if you want to neaten that up, secure his ears down. Even out any lumps and bumps, but do it till you're happy. You might decide you want him to look a bit fatter. So you can just take another piece of fleece, put it on his tummy. The more you poke at it, the smoother and more solid the shape will be. So just keep adding bits to him until you get the shape that you're happy with. So